Hello everybody, I'm Julo, and as you may recall, I recently hit Warlord on my death with only 53 matches played. So today, I'm going to be showing you my gear and deck setup that I used to get this. Now, with Legendary Death, you can play pretty brainlessly, I will say that much. Like, it's easy to tell from my videos. But here are the stats. You've seen this page before, I'm pretty sure. 111 death damage, which is crazy. 42 resist with 46 to death. That's pretty standard, and I would recommend something around this. 20 accuracy, which is enough for me to not base fizzle things like Headless or Deadly Minnow, and more than enough for spells like Poison or Scarecrow. For the advanced character stats, we have 49% crit, so that's pretty nice. Only 3% block, but you're not going to be blocking anyway, so it's not to be worried about. Piercing, 14%. I noticed that this rounds down to 13%, similar to how 30 and 40 round down to 29 and 39, but within foul up, it'll take you to 29%. Or with a 20 and foul 34%, so it works fine anyway. Heal boost is not really relevant unless you want to run like Sacrifice, which I don't anymore. 81 pip chance. This is pretty good. It could be better if I got Staff of Flashing, but it's fine. Gardening. Just kidding. But yeah, I'm going to be going over everything that I use. So let's start with the hat. House of Scales. This is not necessarily necessary, I guess. You could rock Waterworks, but that extra 3% death accuracy is so good because it gets you from 17 to 20, so you can't base fizz Headless or Deadly Minotaur. So obviously that's nice. I don't know why I still have this. The Dahlia stuff. But for the robe, I farmed day in, day out for the House of Scales robe, and eventually got tired of it. I just wanted to start PvP on my death. This was months ago. So I just went ahead and got the Waterworks robe. It has less offensive stats, but it gives a lot more pip chance than the Zigzag robe would. And, I mean, you saw I have 81, so kind of chilling. So yeah, there's this. If I had the House of Scales robe, I might use it, but you drop some defensive stats and the pip chance. Although obviously my playstyle is very offensive, so I would probably use it still, but I like the pip chance and resist on this, as well as the 2% incoming if I wanted to run sacrifices. The boots, pretty standard. Dorgan's boots, level 60. Gives you more accuracy and gives you good resist, good power pip chance, good crit, and the added death resist, which is very good. Helps you a lot in mirror matchups. The damage is good too. I don't have the Waterworks boots to show you a comparison, but these are a lot better because they give a lot more crit, which is a lot more reliable than the 3% block that might go up to, like, I don't know, maybe 10% if you had the Waterworks boots. But yeah, and I don't think that the Waterworks boots give accuracy. I could be wrong, but we'll see. For the wands, you can't get this anymore. I managed to pull this out of the pack last September, when it was still a thing, and because you're obviously going to want to substitute here, right? You know, you could use the Universal Sinbad wand for level 60, and it gives you pretty much the same stuff except just 7 universal damage, and that's okay, but the only reason this works so well is because it gives great crit, great damage, and it gives pierce. A worthy replacement for a wand of this caliber that you can no longer get is probably the Immortal's Lore wand. It gives you a Maycast to Festus which is good for taking bubbles away from anybody who's not a fire, I guess. But it gives a lot more pierce than this does, I will say that. It gives less crit and I think a little less damage, but the pierce on it is too good to go unrecognized. So if you're looking for a wand, Immortal's Lore is probably the way to go. But if you have this somehow for level 60 plus, I'm like the only one I know that has it. Go for it. So for the Athame, Duelist Fatal Razor, that's what I use. I use this for tournaments until I got the Fatal Razor, but it's whatever. This gives good health, decent enough pip chance. It could get a little bit more and I'd be fine with it. It gives crit, which is the only Athame at this level that does that. Gives such good damage. I mean, just look at the difference here. Like it's crazy. And it gives incoming, which I guess is nice. It's not really affected though by drains, but for the sockets, I obviously have 65 health jewel. You can buy it from the dude way over there. 3% death pierce jewels on both circle sockets, of course, and then a 7% death accuracy jewel. You can craft these. You can get them as drops from, I think, mobs of the grotto in Celestia, but they're not too hard to obtain. It's just RNG if you'll get them or not. For the amulet, I have both of the logical choices here. I have not used the Spider Shadow amulet in my videos, just because this I deem to be better. Because it gives 2 damage, an amulet blade, and a scarecrow. I don't use the scarecrow item card, but it's whatever. 2 square slots, so this one's kind of like comparable to the Shane amulet at max or something. So you can socket in more universal defense jewels if you want. It gives good enough health. Like, if I were to equip this, I'd have like 3917, I think it is. But I would be giving up the blade and 2% damage and a little bit of flat resist for just more health. And sometimes health doesn't even matter that much. But yeah, this is good, obviously. I guess you could use this if you wanted the cloak item card. That's probably the best part about this compared to the amulet that I have. You can actually get this from the lower zigzag wooden skeleton key chest room. This is... I honestly want to say I got this as like a stroke of luck, because I only used 1 key and got this, so I would not expect to get this. This is the much more accessible option, and it's nice, but if you have this, use it. For the ring, obviously, Duelist Daredevil. You know how that goes. Amazing pip chance, pierce, good damage, a little bit of block, and yeah, the usual sockets. For the pet, you've seen this, triple double, infal, and then brace defy. A single aura pet is better than a double aura pet, I want to say, but this is just how this one turned out. And brace casts fine enough. I mean, when it does cast, I'm definitely not complaining. So there's that, and it's on an armament as well. The sharpened blade item cards that it gives are way too good to pass up, because you've seen me make 50 blades out of these, and it's just so good for blade stacking. Like, it's crazy. You've seen me use like 3 blades into a deadly minnow, or 4. But yeah, for the mount, it's gonna be the rock. This, I know it's from the Sinbad pack, and it's probably gonna be hard to get, but I would still definitely go for this, because the only stat to me that's not perfect that can be solved part way with the mount is power pip chance. It's 81 for me with this setup, which is good enough, but could be higher. And this takes it from 78 to 81, so super nice. For the deck, this was the biggest troll I've ever seen. I eventually got this from Belash and the House of Scales, the little stone key guy, only to find out that it was a tier slot. Yeah. And if you wanted to, you could use the Waterworks hat with the Belash 1% accuracy deck with a triangle socket and the Crystal Unicorn mount, if you had it, in order to be able to get still 20 accuracy, but probably higher pip chance. So I don't know, that might be something I go for. Same with the hat. But the one that I use is the Celestia crafted deck. This is just the best. Because of the triangle socket, the big sideboard. This obviously has a bigger sideboard and more copies, but you know. Yeah, so pretty good. Speaking of the deck, I will show you the setup now. So here it is. Here's the deck. You've probably seen like short glimpses of this before, but this has been what's working for me, and I'll go over it real quick. So 4 stun blocks. You could technically have 5, but a 5th one would clog up your deck too much. 3 volcanic shields. These are good against storms, but I wouldn't sweat trying to get the glacial shield, just because they like to insane a lot. And once I show you my side, you'll see what's up with that. So yeah, 2 ether shields. When you're training to get Minotaur from here to make deadly Minotaur TCs, this is where you get that. So yeah. Let's see, what else have we got? We have 5 blades. You could run 4 and be fine with it, but you know, you need to pull the blade sometimes, and the 3 sharpens are obviously going to help with that. Same with the spirit blades down here. 5 dooms. Can I even put more in? I could technically put 2 more in, but you don't need to. Because like they're good and all, but I keep these in for changing bubble and trying to pressure a heal spammer, which, like you saw in the 50 sub special, I went against one and he was pretty tough to deal with, but I kept pressure on him and ran out his fortifies and braces with dooms. So always nice. 2 dream shields. You're gonna want these, especially against life wizards, because luminous spamming is pretty much the same thing as pre-nerf lore spamming, except minus the whole mantle thing. It does the damage that lore used to do. And as for Myth lost Orthrus, and that was a big reason why I would want to put more of these in. But I mean, they've lost Orthrus, so, and they don't have an overtime at Legendary unless they go to 68 and get Basilisk, but Basilisk is just not worth getting. Too much of it is on the first hit anyway, so a shield will stop everything but a Minotaur. Death Dispel, you get this for free from the woman in Colossus Boulevard. It's not a necessity. None of the dispels are a necessity, especially at this level, but you get this one for free, so I just get this to stall out somebody if I am running around behind. 2 Thermics, and Ice will always frostbite you if they don't have any good single hits that just hit once at this level, so you're chilling. As for Fire, Fire is covered by these and the Volcanics, so you know how it is. However, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and get the Glacial Shields in place of this. I would not have both, but in place of this, yes. Because Storm just has a much bigger presence, and you still need Ice set shields anyway. And then the 2 Spirit Blades, these are decent. I went against somebody who had like 15 or so disarmed TCs in their side deck, and I have 2 of these now because of that specifically. Also for Storms, because Deathblade comes first. 4 wand hits, 2 of each of the other schools, although, I mean, that's just because my wand is kind of cracked, but 4 wand hits should be good enough. Amulet Blade, always nice, much better for stacking with that. And yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for the main deck. I don't pack infects because I have Doom. It's just better, and you can take away a bubble at the same time. I don't pack ghouls because Headless just does an obscene amount. Beguile could be useful, but I played too fast for it to be good. I don't use Sacrifice anymore. I used to use it because of his Freet, and when I would get minus 90'd, I'd just use one of these to heal up. So, always nice, I guess. The rest of these are just hits, and I don't use this because triage. Anyway, TCs. Yeah, 5 towers, pretty good, I would say. This is just to prevent a Storm Wizard from rolling an insane on you, because it's kind of cracked at this level. 2 triages just in case of like ices or deaths that use poison or frostbite, that sort of thing. Really just any school that blade stacks in overtimes, but yeah, I guess that really is only ice and death at this level, isn't it? I keep 2 20 infals just in case my pet isn't casting it, or I'm against somebody with really high resist, and I need that 5 extra. But most of the time you can just rely on your pet casting infal. And infal is better than virulence at this level, by the way, because of the pierce that it gives. So yeah, 3 blades inside. I could downsize this a tiny bit, but it's good for stacking. 1 Deer Knight. It's kind of like an AoE poison. You don't have to have this, but you know, 5 headlesses. You can just see how much damage this does for 4 pips. It's crazy. And it only comes around during Halloween. You can tell I've had this character for a long time because I have the Sinbad wand and this, but it's really good. That's the best way I can put it. Headless is very, very good. And if you don't have this, after the recent buff to drain spells, Vampire is honestly still worth it to put in, but Headless is better than Vampire, so use it. And you'll notice I have no Vampires in either. I don't even have any TCs made for it, because Headless just outclasses it. If I need a drain, I have Crows. 4 Death Minnows, obviously. I mean, if they shield once, you just use this, because it does crazy high damage. And then 4 Poisons, self-explanatory, just a quick little low pip overtime you can put on somebody. Pain. 2 Death Scarabs. These are okay. I mean, I don't ever use them because I just minnow or poison, but I guess it's a good finisher if they're on like super low health and you only have 2 pips. And Scarecrow, I used to just keep one of these in as a meme to like emulate a Krulu situation if somebody summoned a minion, but now these are just genuinely good to have. I mean, 840 is the max that a Headless could do. Obviously it costs 3 more pips, but it's still good to use because it gives so much health back. So that pretty much wraps up the side deck and the video. You don't need any of these 3 because this gets triaged too easily. This, you can just use a Crow and it does pretty much the same thing. And then this is just weak. Like, this got nerfed a little too hard, I want to say. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up the video. That is what got me to Warlord on my death, and hopefully even further. I will definitely be shooting for much higher rank, so I would stay tuned. And yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up now. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.